Sector 3, 14 November 2020. This is from the Gateway Pundit. Leftist groups accidentally prove Pennsylvania elections officials violated laws and judges' orders. To combat Trump's motions to battle the election fraud taking place in Pennsylvania, various different leftist organizations have filed a motion to intervene in the case. As part of this motion, they included several affidavits from various community members, and in some of those affidavits, citizens swear that they were contacted by people at the elections office and or by the Democrat Party and were informed that there was a problem with their ballot and they needed to come down to the elections office and cure the problem. This is in direct defiance of the orders previously given by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which specifically stated that voters are not to be contacted to cure a ballot. In a stunning filing on Tuesday, November 10, potential interveners in the Trump campaign's lawsuit against the Secretary of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania proved one of the allegations of illegality the Trump campaign brought forth in their initial complaint against the Secretary and several boards of elections. The Trump campaign alleges that in contravention of election law, certain precincts reached out to mail-in and absentee voters to cure their ballots before Election Day or fix errors that would have otherwise made their votes invalid. On page 35 of the complaint, the Trump campaign spells out election law that was recently affirmed this year in the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania as it pertains to mail-in ballots. A large part of that case, filed by the Trump campaign, explains in detail how the Secretary of State in Pennsylvania sent out guidance to election boards instructing them to ignore the law. According to the lawsuit, there was no evidence, there was no even adherence to the law, and some counties followed it while others, namely in Democrat strongholds, did not. On November 10, a number of organizations filed a joint motion to intervene in the case, along with their filing, which suggests that these ballots should remain or risk disenfranchisement. Were several affidavits from voters who swear under penalty of perjury that they were, in fact, contacted by County Board of Elections officials before the election in order to cure their ballots of errors. This is in direct violation of Pennsylvania law and is one of the arguments the Trump campaign makes in its complaint against the state. Yet the Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued an opinion on September 17th that read in part, "A mail-in ballot that is not enclosed in the statutorily mandated secrecy envelope must be disqualified," and Act 77, passed into law last year, specifies the County Board of Elections shall meet no earlier than 7:00 a.m. on Election Day to pre-canvass all ballots received prior to the meeting. Moreover, the Trump motion alleges the Pennsylvania Supreme Court recently reaffirmed that ballots that voters have filled out incompletely or incorrectly shall be set aside and declared void, and election boards are not permitted to afford these voters a notice and opportunity to cure. Self-appointed fact-checkers are claiming that the workers were transcribing the votes from spoiled or damaged ballots that couldn't be read by the machines to fresh ballots, saying because the county received some ballots that were damaged, they couldn't be scanned. The scanner manufacturer has advised that the best solution for damaged ballots that can't be scanned is to transcribe the votes onto a clean ballot and scan that ballot instead, except there doesn't seem to be anything in the law that grants them authority to do such, and in fact is contrary to their own directives. Additionally, the ones they are already The ones they are allegedly discarding do not appear to be physically damaged, so perhaps there were too many marks on the ballot, or for some reason the machine wasn't reading the marks correctly. From the Gateway Pundit. Stunning testimony. Michigan election observer Shane Trejo witnessed drivers bringing in 50 boxes of absentee ballots after midnight deadline into Detroit TFC Center at 3:30 a.m. There were thousands of ballots in each box, Trejo says. There were at least 50 boxes that I saw unloaded at 3:30 a.m., well after the 8 p.m. deadline for ballots to show up, he said. Trejo said they should have been dumped on us at once when there wasn't a potentiality of fraud. There was no reason for them to show up this late at night. Trejo was the intrepid journalist behind the exclusive series #Detroit Leaks that documented the training for Detroit poll workers, where they were trained how to fight Republicans and how to cover up evidence of stealing the vote. The 3:30 a.m. Biden ballot drop was the first ballot delivery since 10:30 p.m. Then 138,000 ballots showed up suddenly. Trejo says the ballots could not be processed right when they arrived, so by the time they were starting to be counted, a new shift of poll workers had started. This is important because Trejo explains that the Biden ballot drop was dropped off at the end of one shift and left uncounted, so when the new shift came on to count ballots, they didn't know where the ballots had come from. Trejo repeatedly asked about this truck to site supervisors and was stonewalled. Trejo also connects the Biden ballot drop with the ejection of GOP poll challengers and covering up of windows at the TCF Center by Detroit election workers. According to Trejo, this was done to prevent anyone from seeing the ballots from the Biden ballot drop from being counted, often with missing signatures and missing envelopes. The mainstream media has tried to explain the Biden ballot drop as either video equipment being delivered or food, but Trejo is adamant that he saw that these were absentee ballots. Other witnesses saw the same delivery and saw the absentee ballots that were in the boxes. Trejo took down the license plates and descriptions of all the people involved and hopes that litigation will reveal this massive voter fraud that stole Michigan from President Trump. Trejo and his primary publisher, Big League Politics, were sent a cease and desist to remove all articles, video, and audio documenting their series #Detroit Leaks last week. This series captured the training for Detroit poll workers that showed how they could cover up illegal voting. That series predicted many of the things that GOP poll challengers describe happening in Detroit on election night. Some media outlets are trying to claim that this was video and camera equipment being unloaded. At the time, several witnesses said they were told this was a food delivery, even though it was in the middle of the night. Witnesses have also said that it was notable, quote, "There's no way this was camera equipment. I could see the boxes and could see what they were doing. What kind of a camera equipment has 50 boxes of ballot-like paper sticking out of them? Why would the city clerk of Detroit be moving video equipment at 3 a.m. in the one spot where ballots were being dropped off?" Good question. Witnesses say that an announcement was made over the loudspeaker that a new round of ballots had arrived and would be counted, causing poll workers to inexplicably cheer. Another announcement was made around 5 a.m. that those ballots had been counted. Another eyewitness a government employee in Michigan, who said he feared repercussions, said that at his table he overheard the team leader say, I haven't slept, sue me. Overheard the team leader say that it was a lost driver who had now arrived with absentee ballots. How convenient. That's it for part one. Sig 23 out.